What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So, is it true that Congress borrowed money from the Social Security, the trust fund? Now, I've seen this question in the comments a lot, as well as we had Ron DeSantis in a debate that he just did last week. He was talking about the fact that Congress stole the money from Social Security. He used that example, or he said took money from Social Security. But the reality is, did it actually happen? And that's what I want to talk about today, because I was actually on a premiere video. So I was chatting with people while my video was playing, and that's what they were saying. No, Congress took money from Social Security. So let's go ahead and do a deep dive into this, and I'm going to show you the information that I was able to gather. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification and clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. And just a reminder, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. And if you'd like to follow me on Twitter and Threads, you can at the TEC Show Live. Okay, so let's go ahead and answer this question. I want to show you this news clip first, and then we're going to talk a little bit about this. Here we go.
Tackle. I'm talking about Social Security, and one of you wanted to know whether Congress has ever borrowed money from the Social Security Fund. And you know how we handle that sort of thing. We get the Verify team on it. Here's Adam Longo.
Our Verify team exists to fact check the things that you read and see online. So viewer Tim McDonald is getting ready to retire and reached out to our team about Social Security.
I seem to recall Congress taking money from the funds of Social Security back in the 70s, and again after that. Can you verify this?
So first we went to the Social Security Administration, and they called the claim a myth and misinformation. Well, we cross-checked 3 Social Security experts who backed that up.
By law, the funds that are contributed to Social Security can only be used for benefits and to administer the program.
So the Social Security Administration explained that sometimes it collects more money than what's paid out. That excess money is held in something called the Social Security Trust Fund, and then it's invested into bonds that make interest, a lot of it. In fiscal year 2018, those investments racked up $3 billion, adding to a total of $2.9 trillion in the fund. So where's the confusion? All right, the trust fund used to be included in the government's unified budget. But that changed in 1990 when it was recorded as a separate account. Well, that accounting change made some people think that that money just straight up disappeared. So we can't verify, nope, Congress never took any money from the Social Security Trust Fund or Social Security itself. Experts also cleared up that Social Security is not going bankrupt. Right now, Social Security will be able to pay 80% of benefits in 2035, so it's less, but definitely not bankrupt.
Okay, so hopefully that answers that question when it comes to, did Congress borrow money from the Social Security Trust Fund? So the information that we have right now is no, Congress did not borrow money from the Social Security Trust Fund. And the accounting change that they made is probably what politicians are talking about when you have people like Ron DeSantis coming on and saying that Congress borrowed money. But the reality is it didn't happen. And so you had the unified fund that they were talking about, where Social Security, the Social Security Trust Fund was under that umbrella. And then they moved the Social Security Trust Fund to a separate account. And so people were wondering, well, where did all that money go? Well, the money is still there. And right now it's about $2.7 trillion in the trust fund. And that should last about 10 years. That's what they're saying. Okay, so that's why you hear politicians talking about Social Security, the trust fund will run out of money in 10 years. Well, it's being depleted from that $2.7 trillion. So what we need to do is we need to reform Social Security. And I've talked about this plenty of times. But when you're listening to politicians, when you're listening to people like Ron DeSantis and some of these other politicians, they're just trying to get you upset. And that's why on the debate stage, that's why he was saying that. Oh, yeah, Congress borrowed money. He wants to get you upset because he wants to say, you know what? It's broken. I can come in and fix it. And that's the angle that he's taking when he says that stuff, but he has no proof. And when he's talking about Congress borrowed money, okay, how much money did Congress borrow? And I was also chatting with someone when we were watching the video a couple of days ago, and they were saying, well, George Bush, he borrowed money for the war and this and that. And like I said, it's not true. It actually can't happen. they can't take money from the Social Security Trust Fund. It is protected. It's by law, Congress can't take it. So if they did take it, that was against the law, and some people should be held accountable for that. But the reality is it didn't happen. The money is still there. They just moved accounts to a different account. Under the unified account, yes, they were taking money from the unified account, but they still weren't touching the trust fund. It was still separate. It's like thinking if you have a bank account and you have a checking and a savings, and you're taking money from your checking, but your savings is still there. They're separate. It's in the same overall account, but they're separate accounts, if that makes any sense. And all they did is they took that checking account out of the umbrella of the accounts and put it into a different account. That's what I'm giving you an example of taking the Social Security Trust Fund out of that umbrella unified account and putting it somewhere else. Okay, so hopefully that clears that up. Now, if you guys have any questions, let me know down below. But the reality is they just need to reform Social Security. They're going to need to raise the payroll tax across the board or raise the payroll tax on people making $400,000 or more. But something needs to happen. You need to bring in more revenue because that $2.7 trillion is slowly depleting. And in 10 years, people that are receiving Social Security benefits are going to see a cut of about 23%. That's why it's urgent to act. But we also need to know what the truth is when it comes to Social Security. And when we start listening to these politicians, some of them are not going to be honest with you. And Ron DeSantis obviously is not being honest with you when he says that Congress took this money.
The other thing I'd point out is Social Security for decades ran massive surpluses. What happened to those surpluses? The Congress spent the surpluses.
Yes, when you
they
raise
have a
the
big
debt.
problem with that. So number one, we need term limits for members of Congress.
This spreads like wildfire. You have politicians out there saying these things, and now everybody's looking at this and they're saying, okay, well, that's crazy. How could they do that? We want our money back. And the reality is, if you want your money back, I mean, it's going to come from the American people. It's not going to come from these politicians. They're not going to pay for it. So even if there was a situation like that where Congress took the money, who's going to have to pay for it in the long run? It's going to be us. Okay, so that being said, they need to reform Social Security. So hopefully they can move forward with that. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.